When I need answers about anything to do with personal growth, I go straight to my mom and my aunt. Here they are, Priscilla Babin and Tina Gilliat with the sister sauce.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sister Sauce. We're on episode 40, so Tina tells me. I'm here. I'm Priscilla. I'm here with my beautiful sister, Tina, and we're ready to chit-chat with y'all. How you doing, Tina?
I'm doing okay. I'm happy to be here for episode 40. I hope I got that right. Otherwise, it'll be embarrassing to have to go back and correct it. But I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is episode 40. That's kind of cool. It's like a milestone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was just saying
Yeah.
that 12 more episodes and we'll be at a year. That's an even bigger milestone. We'll have to do something special to celebrate that.
Yeah.
Or maybe we could
Don't know.
celebrate at 100 episodes, or I don't know.
Well, that's a lot more episodes from now.
I think we decided that one season was going to be 52 weeks, like a full year. So then we'll be in season 2. That'll be interesting. I'll have to add a whole nother toggle to our website, and
I'm glad you know how to do that stuff.
we're gonna be fancy. People will be able to choose between season 1 and season 2.
Oh, maybe people will have a favorite season.
Yeah. And maybe our season finale should be like a cliffhanger.
Ooh.
That'd be interesting, right?
I could fall out of my chair.
Oh no, we don't want to
What happened to
cliffhanger like
Priscilla?
that.
Did she live?
Tune in
Did
next
you see,
tune
did you
in
see
next
some
season
knuckles?
to see what color Tina's hair is. Or what length or her haircut she has.
You show up with a red wig.
What room in the house Priscilla is remodeling.
God, no. No,
You can be
thank you.
done with remodeling for a while. But that's 12 episodes away, so you never know. You might be getting a new kitchen by then.
No, no.
That looked painful.
I
Okay.
enjoy the house the way it is for a while.
Yeah. Can't say as I blame you.
Do you have some hot sauce?
I do. It's not like hot, like in angry or spicy or anything like that, but it's a real simple thought. I ran across an Instagram this video this week, and the Instagram was a man explaining about how I think he was at an airport and he went into the bathroom and he used the restroom and then went to wash his hands, and a gentleman was next to him washing his hands. And he said the gentleman was really nicely dressed, had on a three-piece suit, looking really sharp, like probably a suit that cost quite a bit. But he was impressed by this one thing. The gentleman, after he finished washing his hands, he dried them and then he took the paper towel and was wiping off the counter and wiping off the mirror. And they exchanged a few words, and the man said to him, I believe in always leaving everything better than I found it. And I just thought that was so cool. The gentleman that shared the story talked about how it was sort of life changing for him. And I've always said that same thing, but not in regard to everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've always believed that if you are teaching a class, you should leave your students better than you found them, more equipped, right? Or if you're serving in a term in office in some position, like when I was the district director in Toastmasters, my goal was to leave the district better than I found it when I took over. And I hope I accomplished that. But I've always believed in that philosophy, but just not as general or widespread. And then thinking about it from that standpoint, I really liked it. I like the idea of leaving things better than you find them, even in the store. Like if you go to, I know I get crazy when I go to a clothing store and they have clothes that are stacked and you have to dig through them to find your size. I always, it upsets me if I leave the clothes kind of messed up after I find my size and pull it out. So I always try to like fix the pile, but I've never thought about the philosophy of leaving it even better than I found it. I could see myself standing there though, folding t-shirts at Sam's and stacking them up nicer than what I found them when I got there. The challenge would be not to rearrange them to be more functional like I wanted to do last week. I felt like they had like we were at Costco or Sam's, one of the big box stores, and I was telling AJ, I said, these t-shirts are really cute, but I can't find a medium or a large, which I would probably fit into one or the other. And it was because they had so many smalls and extra smalls that they were in this big, huge stack that was really high. And then behind them was the larger t-shirts. The problem was that the tag that showed you what size was on the front of like the fold. And so in order to see that fold, I had to pull the t-shirts that were small and extra small out a little and then kind of dig through the pile. And I felt like I was destroying the pile. And then once I found the size I wanted, I had to like work very hard to pull it out without messing up all the other shirts. So I kept thinking I should rearrange these shirts and put like all 5 or 6 sizes on top of each other right in the front and then do a similar pile behind them. That way people wouldn't have to dig. But I didn't have enough time, so I didn't do it. But I'm inspired and I'm planning on leaving things better than I found them whenever I can.
I've always had that sort of attitude of you leave things either at better or at least as good as it was when you had it. If you borrow something or
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
like if we go to a restaurant and we get crumbs on the table, I'm always sort of cleaning them up and I pick up any little, paper or whatever and put it, in the stack of trash so that when the person comes to bust the table, they're not having to do any additional work besides picking things up,
Same.
My kids have started doing that too. I think they got that from me. They go back. Of course, 2 of my 4 kids have been servers, so they know what it's like.
Yeah. Me too. I mean, I owned my restaurant, but I was also a server there. And so I always do that too. I clean the table off and I feel like the best I can, leave it for the server that's going to come behind me and bust the table. That would be great. I'm kind of like that with hotel rooms too. Like if we go to a hotel, I always clean the hotel room up and put all the trash in the can. I never leave anything laying around the hotel. But one thing, it's safer for us because it makes sure we're not forgetting something, which is more likely to happen if there's clutter everywhere. But excuse me, it's also nice to do that for just to demonstrate that you're a neat person. And when I've moved out of houses, I've done that too. Like I've gone through and vacuumed and cleaned the bathrooms. Even if we were selling and not renting, if we were renting, I definitely did it. But when we've sold houses, I've done that. I've gone through and cleaned everything.
Yeah, I remember a house we were renting. They had termite damage, and they sent somebody in to cut a chunk of the wall out, and then it took a long time for them to send another person back to patch it. And then that's all they did. They didn't paint or anything. So I painted and I redecorated the whole one bathroom and cleaned. When we were moving out, I was cleaning baseboards with a toothbrush. Like I was spick and span, cleaning everything. And it was better than when we moved in. And
for sure.
That landlady was terrible. Like she didn't want to do anything. And then I don't know if we ever got our deposit back.
Isn't that funny? It seems like the ones that you go the extra mile for are the ones that wind up not appreciating it. But
Mhm.
it's not about them, it's about us. And so we do what we need to do.
Yeah,
And
always
that's what's
true.
important.
Yeah. Well, we've got an interesting topic today for our meat sauce, y'all. We're gonna talk about making friends.
Yeah, because the 30th is Friendship Day,
Right,
International
Friendship Day.
Friendship Day. And so it's a really good opportunity for us to, I'm looking to see what the exact title is. July 30th is the International Day of Friendship, proclaimed in 2011 by the UN General Assembly, with the idea that friendship between people, countries, cultures, and individuals can inspire peace efforts and build bridges between communities. So we're going to be talking about friendship.
Friendship, ship.
I like friendship.
I do too. You
I
my
like
best
sister
friend.
friends and
Yeah.
friend sisters. I have a lot of friends. I know you have a lot of friends too.
Yeah. All over the country.
Yeah,
I'd say
that's
all over
true.
the
You
world, but it's
more
not
so. I have a
true.
lot of friends around the country that I've met through Toastmasters, but I've not lived anywhere but Louisiana. But you've
Mhm.
lived in other states, and so you have
Mhm.
friends that you actually had as neighbors and all.
Yeah, and then those people move and it makes it look like I've been but I haven't. I've just been a few places. And then those people went a few places and now they're all spread out all over the place.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
It
What did
that's fun though. It's I always laugh because when mom used to talk about, so mom, if you listen to this, I'm sorry, I'm writing you out. But mom used to talk about Facebook and I would say, Mom, how come you have all these friend requests that you never responded to? And mom says, I already have so many friends. I just don't think I can handle anymore. And I'm like, it's not like you have to get together with them socially, mom. It's just to keep up with their life.
oh gosh.
I always thought that was so funny.
I get a friend request almost every day. And it's always from a middle-aged man, really well done pictures, at least one with a plane or a dog, at least one in camo. There's a
And
thread
they're
here.
did you say they're usually widowed?
Yeah, I didn't say it, but that's true.
That's
It usually
that's
says
what
they're
I
widowed.
get too. It's like the
Sometimes they
Hallmark.
have kids with them in the picture that don't even look like them.
Yes. And like you said, a lot of times they're in uniform. And
Mhm.
so this is supposed to inspire us to be like the Hallmark husband that we need. And I'm like, half the time I want to write back and say, did you look at my profile? Because it says I'm married and my profile picture is me and my husband. And he's better looking than you. So leave me alone. I feel like writing that back. And then you've got the added bonus of people knowing from your profile that you are not married right now.
Mhm.
And so you get really cross, what did I call it? Catfished? Is
Mhm.
that the right word?
Yeah.
Catfished?
Yeah. And it started to happen on Instagram too. I get a lot of follow requests from similar
Full
accounts.
disclosure, it might be because when these guys write to me, I usually send them a link to your profile. I
Oh,
say, I'm married, but my sister's single.
she's desperate. Get with her.
Just kidding. I only do that with the wealthy ones. I figure they
Um,
can pay for your kitchen renovation.
ah, no, thank you.
Happy to oblige you there, little
They're
sis.
probably looking for someone to finance an Ethiopian prince or something like that. One of
For
those
real.
things.
For
Yeah.
real. Well, I have some information to share on the reasons or the benefits, the reasons that friendships are important or the benefits of friendships. And one is that it helps you to build community, to cultivate community. So I think you and I have talked about this on other shows, other podcast episodes about like when you're setting goals for yourself, how friends can help you because they encourage you and it's sort of like a team effort. And that's basically what this first benefit is. It's like you're not you're part of a team. And it's always good to have that, right? It's a community cultivation. Um, uh, when you're having health issues or going through struggles, to have
Mhm.
close friends that are sort of a community. And we get that organically somewhat from church and from other organizations that we belong to. But there's always room for more people in your community and in your corner. And you get that from having close friendships. And then the next one is that they sort of push you to be the best that you can be. Friends often will encourage you to go for your dreams and shoot for the stars. And if you don't have someone else to do that for you, then you need that in your life, somebody that's going to encourage you to do great things. Another one is that friends are good for your physical health in that they bring you joy. When you have healthy relationships, you're happier, and then all areas of your health improve. So it's sort of like laughter is the best medicine. Well, the joy that you get from your friendships and the things that you do will actually make you physically healthier. Another one is that they encourage you to take on healthy behaviors. So if they're doing something, kind of like when your sister joins WW and you say, "Oh, I think I'm going to join WW too," and then you look amazing like you do. Um, and we and in addition to just being your community, they go in a step further and they help you with emotional support and they help you build your confidence. And likewise, it reduces your stress. So those are lots of great benefits for having friends. But what else do we know about friendships, Priscilla? Any statistics?
Oh, yes. And these are kind of troublesome.
Oh my
Not
gosh.
troublesome. What's the word?
Concerning?
Disheartening. Um, excuse me. Didn't drink enough coffee this morning. So here are some fun facts or not so fun facts about friendships. According to research by YouGov, I don't know if I guess that's a website, 27% of millennials have no close friends. That's really sad.
I wonder if that's because they're mostly like online. They spend a lot of time
Maybe,
online. So
maybe.
it's a little hard to develop close. I mean, you can though. You can build close friendships online because that's how I've become friends with some people that I know. And those friendships have advanced to where we want to meet in person and we do. Not men, other just friends, women mostly. Some of the men my husband's also friends with. Oh Lord, I'm going down a hole with this one. It's all healthy, it's nothing bad. Okay. I'm not talking about dating. Just talking about friendships, like in Toastmasters. Get your mind out,
Well,
people. All right.
I'm
What
wondering if the problem with millennials is, the tail end of millennials, like not the elder millennials, but the tail end millennials, not the ones that are, in their 30s, but the younger ones in their 20s. Their college time was in the middle of COVID.
oh, that's true.
So
That
I'm
is so
wondering,
true.
and you have that thing. Not a lot of people stay in the same location and the same um friend groups as they did in high school, and in college is different, and especially if you go away to school, and depends, or if your friends in college are people from away and then they move, and then you're not together anymore. So
Mhm.
then you're out in the world as an adult and you're kind of starting from scratch a lot of times because you're not seeing the people you were friends with growing up on a daily basis. And maybe maybe they are, become more fringe and less close as friends. And if you were coming out of college in 2020 or around that time, that can really put a damper on things, I bet.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm wondering about that one.
Yeah. That's true. Liv was in college during COVID, and I remember most of her classes, well, all of her classes, either shifted to online where they would meet via Zoom or some other platform the school provided, or they would work one-on-one with the professor through email and just turn their assignments in that way. And I remember when COVID, I don't want to say ended because it's very prevalent still, but when COVID became less of a concern and we started meeting in person again, it was really hard for Liv to adjust back to going to campus. And it obviously was hard for other students and for the professors because she had enrolled in, I think, 3 classes or 4 classes the one semester, and 2 of them ended up switching to online after they were supposed to be in person, which made me wonder, was it the choice of the professor to do that because they also were more comfortable meeting online after COVID? I just thought that was interesting, but I agree with you that that probably is one of the concerns of the millennials, or one of the issues that cause them to maybe make less friends.
Yeah, I mean, just physically like that, but also there was something about COVID and the way things changed that made people, maybe it was enabling to people to be more introverted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
People,
you and I both went through that too. You know
yeah.
that. As a public speaker, I've always been introverted, but I've been able to like overcome it and put on a different persona for public speaking, and never had the anxiety that I had after COVID.
Mhm.
After COVID. And I, in full disclosure, it was probably partly because I was also right before COVID was when PJ died. And so I was dealing with grief differently. And then COVID came along. And so yeah, it was a lot involved. So it may not have only been COVID, but definitely I have been more anxious about in-person speech opportunities than I ever was, ever. I'm speaking
Yeah.
at a women's networking function in August, and I just got asked yesterday to do it, and I'm already nervous.
Well, you can throw at them some of these facts about friendship when
There
you're
you go. There you go.
Here's another one. Only 24% of US adults claim that they can find companionship when they want it, according to Cigna's US Loneliness Index. That's kind of sad. It doesn't say 76% of us, it says 24% of us.
Wow.
So that's really low. And according to American Survey Center, only 13% of Americans have 10 or more close friends. I feel like it's hard to juggle a whole lot of close friends.
Yeah, it
And,
is.
and especially to be responsible, to keep, the upkeep of the friendship. When you have that many, that's a lot. So I feel like that's probably not too bad of a thing. And then also, according to research from University of Virginia, relocating or moving residents can result in lower quality social relationships in the future. And it doesn't say, right when you move, because obviously you move, you need to establish new local friendships, but it says in the future, which makes me think maybe it makes you a little shy of starting over, you know?
Or maybe there's that like inward, I don't want to have to say goodbye if I have to move again. You know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah.
just coming off because it's a homework thing where a person gets hurt really bad in a relationship and then they're hesitant to get into another relationship for that reason because they're afraid they're going to get hurt again. So maybe with the friendship thing, it's like, well, I tend to have to move every few years. And this last move was so painful, leaving all my friends. I'm just not going to make any friends. You know what I mean? It,
Yeah.
I can see how that would impact you with that. Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's just one more. This is not really so much of a statistic, but it's a little numbers thing that's interesting. The average life expectancy, the global average life expectancy, so everywhere, including like third world countries, I would assume, is 72.6 years, which means on average, if you met one person every day, one new person every day, you would meet around 25,000 people in your lifetime, which sounds insane. I don't need that many friends, but obviously, you know, you could count, I guess you could count anybody, the teller at the bank, the person who waits on you at the restaurant, you know.
It's funny how, yeah, because it's funny how sometimes it's one-sided though. You made me think of when I was in 2017, I was on stage at the Toastmasters International Convention, and there were like 2,000 people at the conference, at the convention. And I don't know how many were in the audience when I was on the panel discussion that I participated in, but I was kind of a cut up out of that. I know that's hard to believe, but I laughed a lot. And a lot of people came up to me afterward, I guess, because they felt I was like an easy person to approach because of my sense of humor. But I got so many people that stopped me in the hallway after that panel discussion, and they knew me, but I didn't know them because they felt like they knew me because I had just poured my heart and soul out on the stage, whereas I was just meeting them. So they were like strangers to me. And I think I shared with you that I got a lot of friend requests on Facebook and I didn't want to turn anybody away. But then it was people that I never interacted with again. So now I'm in the process of filtering out my friends and saying I want to do a better job with social media and only accept friend requests from people I really know, because I do occasionally share pictures that I would prefer not the world to see, but
Right.
like kids in the family that the whole world doesn't need to see those kids in our
Right.
family. So I can remove those 2,000 people that really aren't my friends, but just met me because I spoke. And I'm sure they're wonderful people, but if I'm not interacting with them, why do I need them on my friend list?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep. Yeah. And they give some quick tips for getting new friendships started too. This is from an article, and we're not doing this whole article, y'all, because it's really long. It's 90 exciting ways to make friends in your new city. And it's from scienceofpeople.com. And by Vanessa Van Edwards is the author of the article. It's from last month. It's a recent article. She actually goes through and breaks down step by step, like if you want to meet new people, you could go join a fitness group, and then she tells you how to make friends in the fitness group. Like it's real detailed. So if you're desperate to make friends, it's a good article to get really do your homework.
Yeah, and I will say this, it says in your new city, but
Yeah,
it you don't have to be in a new city to follow
right,
these
right.
steps.
You could have lived there 17 years and just been too busy to have friends. But here's some of her quick tips, and there's only 5, so it'll be easy. Some quick tips: look for long lines at the grocery store, coffee shop, or etc. And most people don't like to wait, but a long line gives you a chance to chit chat with the people around you.
And
Um,
we do, don't
go,
we, here in New
yeah, we do.
Orleans?
We do. Or in the grocery store, help each other look for toothpaste, whatever. Go towards people. Normally you might try to find the emptiest spot in a big place, like in a cafeteria or at the beach or wherever, but not if you want to meet new people. So go and be next to someone who you think you might be able to talk to, and remember proximity is key. Now, I would be cautious with this too. You don't want, because a lot of people might get suspicious if you just start going up
The
and
whole
talking to
beach
them.
is empty. The whole beach is empty. And you go right next to the family with the two gorgeous looking daughters. No, you might come across as a little shady with that one.
Yes.
You got to be careful.
Yeah. Um, and then the third one is to go early and leave late. So stay as long as you can. Basically, don't that implies almost that you would show up ahead of time for something and then overstay your welcome. Don't do that. But if
I
you're going
agree.
to a party or a networking event, you want to get there, as soon as you can and stay as long as you can. Because you might not even have any friends to hang out with there. So it's a good chance to make some new ones. And sometimes if you get there early or you're there toward the end, there's a little bit less people and it's a little less overwhelming at those times, and it's easier to make conversation, and you could even help clean up. You can make friends that way. That's always good. People love other people who are willing to clean up. So so they'll talk to you. Number 4 is graze. Don't be the one with the full plate of food. Going to the food line multiple times creates new opportunities to meet new people. So literally graze, not like on Friends. And then the last one is to bring the right wing person. The right wing person isn't someone you always stick with, but somebody who gives you enough meet new people time or introduces you to new people.
That's like
So
what I used to do.
mhm.
Whenever I had to go to a networking event, I would bring AJ with me and we would walk around the room together, although I stuck with him the whole time. But he would say, "Have you met my wife, Tina? She's an amazing professional speaker," right? He would introduce me to people. But I was not the kind to just go walk up and shake hands with people. That's part of my introvertedness. I'd rather speak in front of an audience of 1,000 people than have to go shake hands with somebody I've never met.
Yeah. So there's your tip. If you want to meet new people, you bring AJ.
There you go. Yeah.
Get an
And
AJ.
there are some general tips too that we can share. One of them is to start by volunteering or join a club. And so we've talked a bunch about my involvement in Toastmasters, and I can honestly say to you, I've met tons of people through Toastmasters and have made some very, very dear friends. I can name right off the top of my head 10 people in Toastmasters that are very close friends of mine. I consider them family, but there's more than just those 10. The list goes on, but 10 I could immediately think of, I'm sure. And, but also volunteering anywhere or joining any kind of club, volunteering like with Kiwanis or uh, go volunteer at an organization that needs your help, such as Second Harvest Food Bank, or Arno is the American Rescue of New Orleans or Animal Rescue of New Orleans. I've volunteered there before. There are Glass Half Full, I'm sure, has volunteers, different organizations that we've talked about on here. Probably have lots of volunteer opportunities. There's also like meetups. There's a website that's meetup.com. You can go on there and see where there are meetups and do things like the Moth, which is the storytelling events or comedy shows, things like that. Another one is that you can take a class and be part of a class and you meet the other students, right? We have a friend, Lisa, that is taking sewing classes, or she's finished it now. I don't think you got to see her finished project.
Oh, no.
She finished her skirt that she was sewing. It came out really good. There are a few others too. You can take part in community events. This one I'm not too crazy about. The next two that are on this general list talk about Facebook groups and social media apps. Those are good, but you have to be really careful about
Yeah.
making personal friends on social media. It is somewhat dangerous. And so be
That's where
careful
the
about that.
lurkers are.
Yes, and don't assume that just because 2,000 of your friends are friends with this person that they're safe, because I cannot tell you how many times I have been harassed on social media by someone that I accepted their friend request because they were friends with we had 3 or 4 mutual friends. And then after being really disturbed by some of the messages I was getting, I would reach out to these friends and say, how well do you know this person? Oh, I only accepted their friend request because they're friends with these other people that I'm friends with. And it quickly becomes, okay, I need to unfriend and block this person. But you don't always know. And then they want to meet in person, and you need to be really careful about that kind of stuff. And book clubs are great opportunities. Joining a gym is another good opportunity. Did I miss any, Priscilla? Are there any that stand out to you? I think most of them.
No, I think that covers that list pretty well. I mean, there's the one that says meet your neighbors, but like my neighbors, I heard, I know them, but we all have very different life
Interesting.
situations. So it's not, we're different. The age variety is great.
Yeah.
I'm middle-aged, and then I have some of my neighbors are very much younger than me, and some are very much older than me. So we don't really do the same stuff. But while you were talking, I was thinking about, I get, like the little newsletter and things from our local parks and recreation department.
Uh-huh.
And your parks and rec departments, wherever you live, will have things to do that could be fun, like sewing classes or art classes, dance classes, fitness stuff. And usually those, because they're through the state or the county or parish or whatever where you live, tend to be a little bit on the more affordable side, which is
Mm-hmm.
cool. And so you can meet some people that way, which I've always wanted to do one of those things. I used to teach for Parks and Rec, but haven't done it in years, and my life has not had space in it for that, and yet. And so I'm kind of thinking about the future. Maybe I'll join a class or something.
Yeah. You know what I wanted to mention was and AJ found this out when he went back to school. He was interested in going to the University of New Orleans. And so when he decided to go back to school, he looked into we live in New Orleans area, so he looked into the Louisiana uh, Board of Colleges and Universities, whatever it's called, Board of State Colleges and Universities. And he looked into the guidelines for that. And they actually recommend, I want to say it's 50 and up. They recommend that the individual colleges and universities do not charge tuition for students over the age of 50 and above. However, it's up to each college or university to set their own guidelines, but that's the suggested. And I'm not sure exactly how all that works. And, some colleges are private, so it's different. But he actually went to UNO, to University of New Orleans, which is a state institution, a state college, and he went for free. Now, he was in his mid 60s at the time. I could not go to UNO for free, even though I was older than 60, because I think the guideline there was you had to be 65, and AJ was 66 or something along those lines. I did find out, however, that I could take classes at Delgado for free. And there's just a form you have to fill out. So depending on your age, check into that. There are lots of free opportunities for people over the age of 50. I don't consider over the age of 50 senior citizen, but in some states it is. And used to be, I don't think it's true anymore, but used to be Wendy's would give you a senior discount if you were over 50. But I definitely get a senior discount at Cane's now. I think it's 55 or something like that. And Cane's gives me a senior discount. And guess what? I'm proud to take my senior discount. I get $1 off, man.
I always forget that I have my AARP membership, and every once in a while I'll go and buy something or I'll go do something, and then I'll think, I wonder if they had an AARP discount. I forgot to check.
Yeah, like traveling and stuff, you can get good discounts. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely look into that. There was something else I wanted to mention too about I forget what it was that you said. Oh, about gyms too. Gyms will offer sometimes senior citizen rates. So if a gym is something that you're interested in, shoot for it. But you also mentioned, we said take a class. What about teach a class? Because you said that. You said that you used to teach classes. You could teach a class if you qualify.
I have a lot of people I made friends with teaching my class. I miss seeing them. But I don't know if I'm as capable as I used to be. Maybe I'll get it back. Who knows?
You'll get it back. You'll get it back. You had a rough couple of years, but you're coming back strong with your nice new figure and everything. So.
I need new joints. Where do I get those?
I'm part of your cheerleading team, you know.
I know.
We talked about having friends to be the community. That's true, man. Your bones get old after a while. They grow up faster than you do.
my ligaments, my what do you call them? Well, just joints. These things. My rotator cuffs.
Oh, don't get me started on rotator cuffs.
And
I have completely new ones. Not really, but they're
I wish I could just get new ones, and I wish that was easier. You could just pop them in and out like a Lego. That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. Like y'all were teasing me about my bionic eyes. My bionic eyes don't work as well as I need them to right now for some reason. So, but I'm not having double vision, so I'll take that. I'm just don't feel like I'm seeing well, but it'll get better. I probably need new glasses all of a sudden, probably because my eyes are growing out faster than me. But it hadn't been a year yet, so I'm gonna wait. Yeah, so this was great. Don't celebrate on the 30th, International Day of Friendship, by doing something to meet somebody. Oh, I know what I was going to say earlier when you were talking about the grocery line, or one of us was talking about the grocery line. Do you remember we had gone out to lunch one time and we had a waiter that AJ and I kept trying to figure out where we knew him from, and it turned out that we knew him because he and his buddy stood by us at a parade. And PJ wanted to be put on shoulders, and we were both worn out, AJ and I. And these young guys that stood next to us throughout the whole parade kept taking turns putting PJ on their shoulders. And they were very respectful, young college guys. And they said, do you want us to do it? We'll do it. And we promise we won't go any further than right next to you. And they were so cute. And they stayed by us the whole night. And we talked to them the whole night. We knew their names. One of their names was Josh. I don't remember the other guy's name. But They were so adorable. And then, like 3 years later, we're being waited on at a restaurant by one of these guys. And we kept racking our brains trying to figure out where we knew him from. And then all of a sudden, the guy goes, I feel like I was standing next to y'all at some event or something. Like you had your kids with you. And then he said, could it have been a parade? And it hit us. And we just thought that was so funny. So he wasn't a close friend, but we did kind of make a friend with these
Mhm.
little guys that stood by us at the parade. So it's doable. You never know.
Yeah, yeah, you do never know. There was some friends I met at a McDonald's. I took my two kids at the time. Renee was like, I don't know, like 5 or 6, and Nico was little bitty. Might have even been younger than that because I don't think that Nico was able to play in the playland. But there was another mom there with her two little girls, and or maybe she had one and was pregnant. I can't even remember how long ago it was now. But the two older of the kids played all day in this McDonald's playland. And so the two of us moms were chit-chatting, and this was 20 years ago at least. And we're still friends. I mean, I've moved
Oh,
and stuff, but we're still friends on Facebook and everything. And now I can look at her grandkids and stuff. And,
that's
it's
pretty cool.
really,
I like that.
yeah, it's interesting. And it's just such a weird random thing because people would be like, how do you guys know each other? McDonald's. It's and I always said Renee could make friends anywhere because
Yeah.
I anywhere I took her, she would make a friend.
That's how PJ was too. He always was friends with everybody. But the funny thing is, we have a lot of friends that we've made like through fast food connections like that. I think probably 3 or 4 of the people on my friend list we know from them working at Domino's because for a while we were getting so many Domino's pizzas that all the kids that worked at Domino's knew us. And they would draw for in fact, I think I have a whole album on Facebook of pizza boxes because they would draw fancy stuff on the pizza boxes for my kids and they would sign their names and everything. It was so cute. And a couple of them we became very good friends with and bought gifts for their babies and helped them when they were looking for a car and we did a few things like that. So yeah, and I actually ran into I was in Canes one time and one of the young ladies that worked behind the counter kept looking at me and then she comes over and she goes, Miss Tina, right? And I said, yes. And she said, do you remember me? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't. And she said, I used to work at Domino's. And once she said that, then because I couldn't put her in the right
Right.
restaurant. And once I was like, oh my gosh, Nicole. And so I recognized her right away when she said she worked at Domino's. But yeah, that's funny. I'm friends with the people from my physical therapist office on Facebook. Because when you're
Yeah.
going through physical therapy, you talk to a lot of people. You're there for an hour every time, you know that.
Yep.
And you
Yep.
talk to all these people, other patients, people that
Yep.
work there. Oh my goodness. Well, that was awesome. Lots of great ways to make friends and
Mhm.
influence people. Yeah. Book how to make friends, how to win friends and influence people. Is that
I think
Norman?
so.
I don't know. Uh, Probably not right on that, but anyway, yeah, great way to make friends. Look for a challenge this coming week to make friends. And
Mhm.
Priscilla, do you have anything for us to marinate on over the coming week?
I do. You don't have to spend a whole week on it, but it's something to think about and well, I'll just start by saying how did I come upon this idea? It wasn't a podcast for a change. It was a post someone I'm friends with on Facebook posted one of these pre-made, things, and it was just words. It wasn't like a meme, but it said, like and share if you think they should continue to teach cursive in schools. And I always felt like it should be taught in schools, but only, not because people necessarily need to be writing in cursive all the time, but because if they ever have to read it, they'll need to be able to recognize what it says, and so it's handy to know cursive. Not that it's like so important, but it's like handy, it's useful. And I do think that a person needs to be able to write their signature in cursive, because print is too similar between two different people, and you need to be able to discern, if something is signed legitimately by somebody. I mean, of course, it's easy to fake a lot of things now with AI, and digital stuff, but I think having, especially like with autographs and things and important documents, you need to be able to see that it was really signed by the actual person. However, when I saw it, it sparked in me some feelings that I hadn't had in a long time. It made me think about when I was a kid and struggling with my handwriting. And I have 4 kids, 2 of whom struggle with handwriting. And I was in college and still struggling with my handwriting. Sometimes it's, you need to practice, practice. But I was doing handwritten work for, 18 years and still wasn't able to write, more than passably legibly. It didn't look good. And the fact that our mother is a commercial artist did not do me any favors. And sometimes people who knew that would point out to me, oh, your mother's an artist, you should be able to have better handwriting than this.
That's so wrong on so many
levels. And I mean, I had teachers tell me, for one of my kids, I'm not gonna call them out, but I had a teacher once try to say that one of my kids had a learning disorder or learning disability because of their handwriting. And all my kids and myself have ADHD. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it at all. And some people might say, oh, yes, it does. But 2 of my kids have beautiful handwriting and ADHD. So who knows, right? And I don't know if there's anything to place in the family with handwriting, because I can tell you, well, I'm not going to tell you about evens and odds, because then you'll know which of my kids has bad handwriting. But
well,
you know who they are, but not
interesting is that Livia has a degree in digital art, but her handwriting is not very good. She's super artistically talented, but her handwriting is not great. And I think it's because she just doesn't think it's that important. And I, quite frankly, don't either. But she never learned cursive. And I always thought it was because the school had screwed up. What happened was she was in special ed from 2nd to 4th grade for ADHD, and she's never been diagnosed, but we believe she's on the spectrum, and she has OCD. And so we had her in special ed for the ADHD and other learning disabilities that she had. And then when she got mainstreamed back into the classroom by 4th grade, middle of the year, I guess it was, she didn't know how to write in cursive. And so I always just thought, oh, she was in special ed and they were focusing on other things, and they didn't introduce handwriting, script, cursive writing to her. But then I later found out that they had stopped teaching it for 2 or 3 years. And then they went back to teaching it again. Well, during those 2 or 3 years, she was in the grades that she would have learned the cursive writing, and she didn't. So she's never learned to write in cursive. She knows how to sign her name, but that's it. And she struggles with reading cursive. She can somewhat read it, but every once in a while she does the attendance for church, as you know. And so we ask everybody to print when they sign in at church, and then Liv enters it into the database. And there are occasions where she has to snap a picture and send it to me and say, Mom, who is this? I can't read it. And it's
Well,
because it's
yeah,
wrote in cursive, you know.
it's both because she doesn't recognize the cursive, maybe, but also different people have different styles,
This
and
is true too.
handwriting is so particular to individual people, you know, and like I said, not everybody is capable of excellent handwriting. So if they're writing in cursive and their handwriting is not great, then she's not going to be able to read it anyway. She wouldn't be able to read mine, I can tell you that. My handwriting is awful. I get nervous every time I have to write a check because you have to write it with a pen, and I'm, you know, I like panic, like, oh, I have to make all these words fit on the line, you know, especially if it's a check that has a lot of numbers in it. And I'm like starting way off the edge so I can make it. So I
You
can
know,
make
one
it
of
big
the
enough
things
that you can
that
read it.
used to upset me was that when Liv was just learning how to write in print, uh, I used to get upset because the teachers would send home a thing saying that she was doing her letters backwards because you had to start with the line and I'm like, what difference does it make where they start writing as long as they look correct, you know? And they preach so much that you're supposed to start with the straight line on an H and then add the hump. Well, excuse me, but that is not critical. And it might be why she hated handwriting so much and still thinks it's a waste of time. But I'm left-handed, and teachers used to give me a hard time all the time too. And when we started writing in ink, if the ink pen bled at all, I would make a mess because I'm running my left hand across what I just wrote as I'm writing. And I don't have as much of a what's the word I'm looking for? A skewed position that I put my hand in as most left-handed people because I was so paranoid about putting my hand in the ink or the pencil that I just wrote that I learned to twist my hand differently so that I was sort of writing behind my hand. But I also don't have the greatest handwriting because of it. It's clear, but it's not attractive. And the clear part, I guess, is what's most important, but it's not attractive at all.
I've
Mom,
always thought your handwriting's attractive.
you think my handwriting's attractive?
Your letters are so nice and round. It's soft looking.
I have a flowery way I sign my name now on everything, and I have all these little swirls. And I try to not do that, but I get carried away. I think it was because at one point I thought I was going to become rich and famous, so I needed an autograph that looked good. Oh, wow. So
I was
much.
dotting my eyes with tiny stars for a while. I don't do that anymore. But the thing, the
I used
reason
to do mine with a flower, like the
oh,
Tina. It would have like the dot for the eye and petals around it, and then a smiley face in the middle.
that's cute.
It's really bad. It's not
It's
cute.
cute though. I like it. But the reason I was thinking of this as a marinade is because people get these ideas of we need to do it this way because tradition, because we've always done it this way, like the starting the letters on the line and stuff like that. We need to do things in the way that works for the individual person.
Bingo.
And if the person is not able to do it the way other people do it, but they can still get it done, or at least to the best of their ability, then they shouldn't be shamed for not being able to do it like somebody else. And I've always had this shame connected with my handwriting, and
Oh,
I still I still cannot stand to write anything in script, especially don't ask me to write the word pizza because I don't know how to make a Z. I do not know how to make a Z in script in pizza. And there's two of them back to back. And
Yeah.
then connecting, I don't know how to connect E's. So I end up like, if I'm writing script, a lot of the times there's spaces inside the words. They're not all connected together because I don't know how to connect them or R's. And I have one in my name. And so my all of my lines went down to the bottom, even if they weren't supposed to, because I had to start from somewhere, you know.
Oh my
They teach them
gosh.
how to write the individual letters, but they don't teach them how to connect them, or they never used to. So I always get lost and trying to read other people's, and they don't go all the way back down to the line, and they're into the next letter, and I'm like, is that a whole letter? Is it all the two separate letters? I don't even know.
Okay,
So
so see, that's the difference with me is because I'm such a fanatic about following the rules that I do come back down to the line and start like the next letter. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So that, I guess, is what makes my handwriting clear. I feel like it's clear, if anything, you can read it. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's a challenge. We could buy some of those little books for you that you can trace the letters.
No, thanks. It's not going to make any difference. I did them for years. I did them for
I
years.
know, I
Made
know.
no difference. My sons, there, I gave it away. They've done it for years, never been able to keep it up. And you know, and teachers want to mark off for penmanship, but not everybody has that ability. And
Yeah,
like you say, artistic ability and handwriting do not go together necessarily. They're not mutually, you know, exclusive, but they're, you know, they also are not mutual. It's like they I have all of my kids have some artistic ability to varying degrees. And but the ones who draw the most are the ones with the worst handwriting.
That's interesting because that's Liv too. Yeah.
And Clover can draw, but Clover prefers to paint. And Renee, it has always been very good at copying. Like she can look at a picture and she can draw it like copy, but she's got really good handwriting too. She probably would disagree with me on that, but I think her handwriting is very good,
Yeah.
very legible and neat. And Clover could write on the side of a pencil. They have this weird ability of really tiny letters that
I
are
have a friend
readable.
like that. I think I told you about that the other day about the card we got. And the
Mhm.
handwriting was small, but it was very legible and beautiful. And I thought, ooh. And it looked like it had been done on a computer. It was so pretty. I should have texted her and told her that. Where do you get that handwriting from? It's so
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was interesting. I would love to hear what everybody else thinks about it. We should get people weigh in on this. Tell us how you feel about cursive handwriting. We want to
Especially
hear.
now that you know how some people feel about it.
Yes, exactly. And
Mhm.
I don't know what our episode 41 holds. We
No.
will have to get back with you on that because this is our last episode for July, and we'll be looking at August and some of the things that are happening in August, like back to school. Ugh, that was the worst time of the year for me. I hated back to school shopping with a passion until I learned that I could do it online.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you couldn't always.
You couldn't. You couldn't.
No.
And Liv went to a school 1 year or 2 years there. Or no, it wasn't Liv, it was PJ. When PJ was in private school, the school did a thing where for 2 years in a row, and then they stopped, which really made me sad. But I think some parents will complain about anything, right?
Mm.
But the school would put together supply packs and so the parents didn't have to do any supply shopping. Everything the kids needed came in this nice little packet. They bought
Hmm.
Kleenex and wipes and all that for the classroom. And then they divided the cost up and passed it on to the parents. And I was much happier writing a check for $75 and paying the school than to have to
And
go to
having to go
8 different
shop.
stores to find ink pens that wrote in green ink.
Uh-huh.
So but some parents were not happy with that. They felt it was too much of a markup, which I didn't really feel that was true. And then I discovered online shopping where you could go buy all your school supplies at Office Depot online and they would send you a free backpack. Of course, usually it wasn't a backpack the kids could use because they had to have clear. But yeah, online shopping. I hated back to school shopping. It's
I've
a whole other
overshopped
topic though, right?
so many years in a row. I have overshopped for back to
Yeah.
school that I don't even, the last few years, I don't even do back to school shopping unless there's stuff we particularly need, like new uniforms or a new backpack or
Don't
lunchbox
even get me started on
until
uniform.
after the first day. And then if something new comes up, I'll go get it or I'll order it online or whatever. But
I'm so thankful my kids are
desire.
out of school. I don't even
Well,
have college students anymore. Yay.
I'm almost to the point, this year I have a senior and an eighth grader. So next school year, a year from now, I'll be looking at one high school student, and
One
the classes are
college.
so specific that back to school shopping will be easier than ever.
Yay.
It'd be like, and another thing is they have the Chromebooks now too.
Mhm.
So they don't have all the textbooks and workbooks and stuff that
And
they used to do. They
notebooks.
do a lot of it online. So there's a lot less, and it's better for the environment too.
You read my mind. How many trees are they saving? Yeah.
Trees and space, and if if they can get to it online, they can actually do homework from their phone if they have to, if you need to be out and about and stuff.
Yeah.
Very
I
convenient.
fully remember young Joseph at your birthday dinner finishing up his homework.
Yep, on his phone or on my phone.
It was on
Somebody's
your phone, I think.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for him, but then I was like, this is really cool that he can finish his homework while we're waiting for our food to be delivered to the table.
Yeah, being
That was
coached by
awesome.
Big Brother.
Yeah, that's
Looking
true.
over his shoulder going, that's wrong, change that, whatever.
You might want to rethink your answer there, kid.
Exactly.
I love that. Well, we will see you guys again next week with episode 41. But until then, make yourself a priority.
And take care of you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to keep up on all the latest sauce. See you next time.